Merry Christmas, YouTube followers and friends. And we are on Christmas Day, and Renee is driving us to the gym. On Christmas, we must train in the morning. So it is 3 weeks into this push phase, coming back from Thanksgiving, and just body weight's been ticking up as it should be, sitting kind of floating between 243 to 244 right now. So up about 3 to 4 pounds since starting this, so kind of right on track. Today we're training push, so I'm going to take you through that session. You also get to enjoy our Christmas shirts. Mine says North Swole. Renee, which one do you have on?
The hollow things, Christmas.
Yeah, I got her. Our gifts this year were get each other a Christmas shirt that kind of like represents your personality, and that's all we did. We just kept it really simple. I got her one, Hallow Thankmas, and then also sort of scary, sort of merry, sort of merry, sort of scary. She likes Halloween a little more than Christmas. So, but anyway, actually, probably our real present, we bought a 1973 Ford Bronco that's been fully modernized and restored. Probably put some video here so you can see it because it's so cool. So I was looking to sell my truck, my F-150. I drive it like twice a week, maybe. So just looking, kind of tired of that. Renee can't drive it well. So this one has a Coyote motor in it, power everything, automatic. And also it doesn't depreciate in value, which is pretty cool until the world goes electric. And then sadly, with all of our modernized or classic fuel consuming vehicles will be of the past. Anyway. On to bodybuilding. So body weight is moving up. Everything's feeling really good. This is the first week where I'm back to doing, and I told you all last time I was going to do push, pull off, push, pull legs. However, after thinking more on this, I'm actually doing 6 days on. So push, pull legs, push, pull legs. Reason being is like I was going to move my SLDL to that pull day. I was like, man, that's kind of a lot on this session. And then my other leg day, it's a lot of quad work. It's a leg extension, a squat, and then leg press. And that leg press really goes to shit, kind of volume-wise, quality. So I'm like, you know what? I did this training in Olympia. It worked really well. The training frequency aspect with keeping volume lower per session will keep the quality really high. So I'll just keep a second leg day in there. So I'll have my basically it's biceps, a leg curl, SLDL, and a leg press. That kind of wraps up that session. Then my other leg day, I do a leg extension, a squat, a leg curl, and calves. So the sessions are like, it's so much more manageable duration-wise, and the frequency, like when you're on gear, like you can recover from the frequency aspect, and you're getting stronger per session. So actually each session is more fatiguing and taxing. So it's a way to like keep your quality really high in your session, not build up so much fatigue, and then you recover and repeat training the muscle group again. That should get you at a faster growth rate. So that's how my split's changing, and today we're just doing one of my push sessions. One thing that has changed in these push sessions is training my compounds first, which we'll jump into here shortly. But cardio, 3 hit sessions per week. Need to sort these out probably at home because post-training it's been a little much to do. 10,000 steps on average. Sometimes I'll get to 11, 12,000. And this is the first week I've bumped up food since moving gear up. So visuals still like very lean, look very conditioned in all my shots. I moved up another 40 grams of carbs on both days. So train days are 640 grams of carbs. It's the highest I've been in off season. It's 60 grams, actually 65 grams of fat and 330 grams of protein. My non-train days, the fat comes up 10 grams just because I do some salmon or beef or something different that day. And it's 360 grams of carbs on that day. So that's kind of the setup where I'm at. And we'll get to the gym, run through the session, talk about some maybe changes in shows because the schedule came out. Right, so first exercise is going to be a Smith machine flat press. I've been connecting the best with the Smith machine, so I have it in both of my sessions, a flat. The other day I do an incline. I think an awesome cue if you struggle with feeling unstable in your pressing. And I do these in a plank position on my knees and just pressing up flat, hands on the ground, is cue hard and external rotation, and then drive the shoulders down. So like scapula's down. And what that cueing does, and you want to do this in your pressing too, is what's responsible for external rotation? Your rotator cuff. What's responsible for driving the shoulder, the humerus down is like teres major lats. So it helps you engage teres major lats, the rotator cuff, to stabilize the scapula and humerus while you're pressing. So you'll feel so much more stable. And also pressing, if these arms start raising up, you start getting more into the front delt territory. So keeping this cue down, you can see how it lines up humerus with the pec line. So that's what I'm doing in my pressing. I keep like a thumbless grip, it helps me cue that external rotation. Just doing 2 sets here. My strategy for progressing these is in my compound lifts, I always add the smallest increment of load. Like I have some micro plates I bring with me that are 1.25 pounds. I added another 5 pounds today onto this, but I end up in a rep. You know, take that for what it's worth. The stimulus is really high. My main thing is that I trend up over time. On my second set though, I matched the lift. But again, like the stimulus is great today, and it's only 1 meal in. Normally I get 2 meals in, so we'll take that for what it's worth, write it down. Move on to our second compound from here. I am reducing my volume a little bit on push day, just because I noticed with that one, it's a harder one to progress up in, so I just can't do as much volume per session. And with the frequency coming in to now hit it every 3 days, I just can't do as much within the session. And that's the idea, more frequency, less volume per session, but the total volume for the week will be the same. All right, next compound lift of the day, doing the prime flat press. Now I raise it up to about, the highest the setting goes, it's probably 15 degrees. But if you look from the side profile, you are pressing like at a backward slant. So the torso angle is a bit greater than 15 degrees, but for me, that lines up really good. We're like a little bit biased towards that upper pec area. This one felt really good today, so I went up 5 pounds on this one and also added a rep. So again, we're watching trends across all of our lifts over time. We might have some drop off on a set here or there, but over time, all these lifts should be moving up, and they are. And again, I'm only 3 weeks into this push phase. I have my escalation of gear set up to hit peak in 5 weeks, and then from there, I still have like 20 weeks on of pushing. So after that 5-week mark, it's gonna be another 5 weeks for those esters to roll through, accumulate, and reach peak dose. So really 10 weeks in is when I'll be full bore. Then I'll have that 10 weeks left of holding that peak dose in serum. So we're just getting rolling here. I expect these progressions to start increasing more and more. On my last set, I went up 5 pounds and did a rep match. So perfectly good there. Again, these little increments over time, reps here and there, loads here and there, add up to be a lot. So don't think you should come in here and make 20, 30 pound progressions when you're even in this intermediate to advanced phase. If you are, it's a new exercise, or you're changing your form, making tweaks to where you can speed up your rep cadence, shorten your range of motion, and pull more load out of something you weren't previously doing. So that wraps up compound work. We'll head to some isolation work next. Okay, next exercise in this list, I go to my lateral machine raise. So I was doing this first in my session, but I had a session where it was taken, so I had to move it back. And that's the session where I'm like, this worked really well anyway. Still progressed my lateral raise and got my chest pressing first, which is priority right now. If you need side delts, like you can always get big enough side delts, like they can never be big enough. So if you put them in the front of your session, I don't see it being a detriment at all. However, I'm gonna run with this and see if I can get some more progression out of my pressing just by doing so. I hadn't seen in the past that's a limitation, but I still progressed my lateral really well even with it being third. Now I put it third so I have my chest pressing, my lateral, and then I move into my pec deck fly. That way there's some gap between there to where my chest will recover a bit and I get quality stimulus when I do my fly. I'll do 3 sets on my fly and I do 4 sets on my lateral. And in this session, my lateral is moving up and so is my pec deck fly. On my overhead tricep, that moves up really well. My triceps respond great to training. I don't need a lot of volume there. So I have 3 sets of an overhead single arm cable extension. I've been able to do a lot of overhead tricep work. I'm hoping that will, your long head of the tricep really gets fully lengthened in the overhead position, which the largest muscle on that upper arm is the long head of the tricep. So if you're doing all press work, all extension work with the elbow down, you're probably not fully developing that long head. You need some overhead work. Your skull crusher can get it, or your JM press a little bit, but there's like limitations, right, to doing a lot of volume there. So the single arm overhead cable keeps me really joint health friendly wise. So that is the isolation work and how I'm rotating through it and just trying to progress that up. The last exercise for today is abs. So I'm doing a rope crunch, pull flipped around with the hips braced against the pulley rail, and also my feet can drive a bit into the bottom of the weight stack too, so and create a lot of stability at the hip. But my idea here of doing them is like if I had a rail or pole running straight through my sternum, I'm not able to move my torso up or down. I have to rotate around this bar that's running through me. So the idea is just moving through lumbar extension into lumbar flexion and not letting the hips move, because I don't want to turn this into a hip flexor movement. But I really like this one, especially like grab your breath and hold, and because you want to stabilize the core. And as you move into extension, really stretch out the abdominal wall, and then exhale as you're moving through the concentric phase, kind of like you're doing your overhead ab and thigh and blowing out and crunching down. So man, one thing I like about this one is the load ability aspect, that it's very progressive. I can continuing to increase load reps over time and make sure, like for me, I want rectus abdominis hypertrophy to occur. I need block your abs. That was part of my feedback from the Olympia. So I picked this movement to be able to progress it up over the off season. But 4 sets here, and that'll cut off for our Christmas push session. All right, driving back home now. We're gonna stop, pick up my mom, and we're having a Christmas brunch. Renee made a French toast casserole, and we're doing also a breakfast taco spread. Other plans today, we're gonna go see Nosferatu, very, very Christmas movie, and then Brazilian steakhouse in the evening. So have a fun day planned. I mentioned shows earlier. With all the European shows out on the schedule now, still looking kind of into the year here, and I'd like to do Texas. I think that would be a really fun one to do in the home state, and the production of Texas is excellent, so get some really cool stage picks and maybe get some friends and family to be able to come out. Then I love to go to Europe, and the last show of the year is Germany. It's a Dennis James show. I think that's a new one on the calendar. So, I would like to do Italy and then also Germany. So I have 3 shows for the year, and that will be, I think, a pretty good lineup, and also give me enough time to grow and bring some real improvements to stage. So far that's the tentative schedule, but you know me, I'll probably be ready ahead and maybe do an earlier show, maybe not, we'll see. Anyway, I know this is coming out after Christmas, but Merry belated Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.